Moving on, now we shall create a new bot. So let's come over to Telegram. This is web.telegram.com and search for bot father and send it a message to activate the bot. This bot basically helps you create new bots and manage your bots. Now, as you can see, he has replied new bot. So let's click on this new bot. Alright, a new bot. How are we going to call it? So let's name it shipping spam. Just choose a username for your bot. It must end in bot. I can just name it shipping spam bot. Done. Congratulations on a new bot. This is the link to our bot. Use this token. So this is important. This is what we need. I'll copy this and I will paste it inside this token string object. Now let us proceed writing our code. I have something on the clipboard which I'll just paste in here. Now let me explain this. Firstly, we are initiating our app variable with the Flask class. So it's basically the app. And this here is a decorator object. I'm not exactly sure what this does. I got it from the Red Eye Coder Club on YouTube. So thanks to him for this. But what I understood is this bit over here, it takes in a URL, and these are the methods, HTTP methods, post and get. Next up, we define our index function, and in the index function, if request.method is equal to post, this means if our bot has received a message from the user, this code is to be done, and supposing there is no message, then return h1 shipping spam bot h1. This is basically a simple HTML code, and you will just see what it does. This here, next up, is supposing we have got a message, so we'll be storing the message into this variable msg by calling the request.getJSON function. This is from the request library up here that we imported. Sorry, this one from Flask. Next up, we have a write.json method, which I am yet to describe, so we'll be creating that later on, but just let me comment this portion out for the meantime. Also this one, let me comment it out, we'll come back to that later on. Now let me run this code and you will see that we have a Flask application up and running. So let's go into the command prompt, and we're in the same shipping spam folder and share that, and we run, this time we have to run main.py. Remember, our file has changed. Now our server on, let me just zoom in, yeah, our server is up and running, and this is the URL, this is the local host where our server is running currently. So we can test it by going to Chrome and going to 127.0.1, and you can see our shipping spam bot code is online, basically on the local host, not exactly online. Now let me uncomment these. I'll delete this line, and actually this should go above over here, right? Now firstly, we're getting the message, the text message from the user and storing it in this variable, and we'll pass it on to parse it. We have to parse the message and get some details like the chat ID, text, what the actual message is there, and the sender ID, the sender name. Now I'll just again copy the code for this function as well as this function, right, JSON. Let me paste it in here. Firstly, let's look at this, parse it. This, we are receiving the text, whatever message we are getting from the user, it's coming from here, request.method message. We stored it here, then it's getting passed on to this function parse it over here, and finally we come inside the function, and you can see this is sender ID. Again, we have it in a dict form, like this will be a dict object. So we are assigning the variable sender ID to the key of message and the key of from and then the key of ID. And all these objects, this, and this, these are all string objects. So we are returning them after we have got those objects, and they'll get stored into these variables. Next up, we have a write.json function, which will actually write this MSG that we got into a JSON file. And this is the name of the function that I have given, telegram incoming.json. And we go over to the definition, write JSON data. There's the data that we are getting. See here, we have passed the message, that is the data. Next up is the file name. There's a default file name, that's fine. With open file name, this is the name of the file. In write mode as temporary variable f. Then json.dump data, this data that we are getting from here is getting written into this f file with indent of 4 and ensure ASCII is equal to false. Now this server that we are running over here, as you can see, it is accessible only on our local PC using this 127.0.1 local host. What we need to do is somehow connect to the server from the internet. To do that, there is an application called ngrok which will help us to achieve that goal, and I will download it. You can click on download for Windows. I have already downloaded it, so here it is. Next step, we have to open the command line at the downloaded location, and we have to run ngrok.exe http with the port number which is on which our server is running. Now, as you can see over here, our server is running on port 5000, so ensure you match this number. Let me just restart the server over here. I have restarted the server by calling main.py, and I will now run this ngrok.exe http 5000. Now our connection should be getting routed from this URL on the public side internet. Let us test it. And there you can see, now we have this public URL and it's coming into our PC on the server that we are running on our PC, showing spam bot. Okay, perfect. So now we have to connect this public URL to our Telegram bot. But before that, let me just show you how we can see the messages being received by our Telegram bot. You have to type in telegram.org bot, and my bot ID is this one. And I have to paste the bot ID over here, then / and get updates. Now we will be able to see all the messages that we are receiving on our bot. For example, if I go over here and this is our bot, showing spam, let me send a message, hello world. Now I'll come over here and refresh. There we can see that we have received a message, and the message ID is 2. The ID of the sender is this, and this is the name of the sender, and the chat ID is this, first name of the sender is this, type private, date, blah blah, and text finally, where we are having the final message. Now basically, if I have to check if I have received any new messages, I have to keep on hitting refresh, which is a bad practice because we are constantly polling the Telegram API. So how will we know if there is a new message from some user? So Telegram provides us an option called setting a webhook, which will inform us when there is a new message. To do that, we will just modify this URL a little bit. After the bot ID and / we have to type set webhook $URL is equal to, and the URL we have to feed it in is this public facing URL that we got from ngrok, and we have to, let me just show this to you on a bigger screen. Okay, you can see Telegram bot ID / set webhook URL, and this is your ngrok. Copy paste it from there. Let's run it, and we should get a set webhook was set successfully. We got this message. Great. Now what will happen is, when we send any new message over here, say I send a message, hello, how are you today? Our code here will write this new Telegram incoming.json file over here, and you can see we got this message. Hello, how are you today? Over here, and all these other details, who is the sender, ID and everything. So the good thing about it is, whenever we receive a new message from our user, we will automatically get this JSON file updated over here. We have the new text message. Now while we are in here in our JSON object, let me also show you how our parseIt function, how this works. As you can see, we go into the message. This is the message, and in the message key, from key, ID key, we get the sender ID. Let's check message from ID. This is the message key, from key, ID key, and finally this is our sender ID. So that is getting stored in this variable chat ID, message chat ID, message chat ID. Similarly, message chat first name we are taking, message text we are taking. We are storing all these 4 into 4 string variables and returning them. Okay, moving on. Now we have to type in some more code. Let's come over this line, and I just paste it over here. We are in the index function, as you can see, and this is the new code after this line. Now this portion of the if statement checks if someone else other than us is sending a message to the bot. Actually, this bot should not be used by anyone other than yourself, because it has access to your Gmail account. So there's a very simple check that I put in place. I'm not sure how good it is. On Telegram, I think it is not possible to make a bot private. So I put in this check. It checks if the sender ID, which I know, minus some number, is matching this number. If it does not match that number, then we send a message to the person who is trying to talk to our bot. Now this send message function over here, let me just explain to you. I already pasted it in, I haven't pasted it. 1 second. Let me copy it from here and paste. Now this send message function, it takes the chat ID. Chat ID is basically the ID of chat between a bot and the other person, whoever it is, whether it's us or someone else. And text is the actual thing that we're going to send. No need to provide a default value. We initiate a new variable URL with an f string of send message. This is the HTTP action, and we have to pass in our token as an f string object. This is our token here. This will get passed in over here. Ensure there's no bot here. We have mentioned the bot over here. And the payload. Payload is our actual message. Along with the chat ID, we have to supply these to this HTTP request. So chat ID key, and the value is chat ID, and text key value is text, which we got from here. Finally, we send this request and we supply the URL, we supply the JSON payload, and we return this. So we come back over here. So when we run this function, the definition which I showed above will get executed. These things, chat ID and text, if you remember, we got them from here, chat ID txt. Here I have txt, and I pass it on over. This is a different txt. We are actually specifying a specific string object over here. So this message will go to the unauthorized user, and this is the unauthorized user's chat ID. Next up, we also send a message to ourselves. This is my chat ID, and I have this f string over here, unauthorized user detected, guilty party as following, name, sender ID, text. We got all these from our earlier calling of the parseIt function. Finally, we have to also run this command, return response okay status is equal to 200, to let the Telegram API know that okay, we are done. Don't otherwise it will keep pinging us again and again. So we send this, Now this was for the unauthorized user. Supposing the user is authorized, then we move on to this next if statement, which says if it is a start. This text will usually always come when you first time are accessing your bot. So if you're accessing it for the first time, we are sending a message back to you saying, hi, send me one or more email IDs and I'll add them to the existing filter in Gmail. Notably, no duplicate check in place currently. So basically, if there's an email ID already present in the filter and you supply the same email ID again, it will not detect a duplicate. There will be duplicates in your filter. So be careful of that for now. I haven't bothered to make the duplicate remover. Again, we'll return the response OK status 200. Next up is this. We are calling our spammer function. Now, if you remember, we have imported spammer from shipping spam. There's our code, shipping spam. There's the function. We have to pass a text to it. So let's go back here. So we are calling the spammer function with the text that we received from here by parsing the message. We are calling it and storing the output in this output variable. What is the output? The output we get is either these IDs have been added to the filter, or there is the output return no new email IDs added. There are two options, so either one of them will come. Once we get that, we again call the send message function. We supply our chat ID to it. This will be our chat ID always. It won't be the unauthorized user because the function will end over here for an unauthorized person. Output is the string that we got from there, and we again do this return response OK 200. That's it for coding our bot. Now the only thing we need to do is test our code to see everything is running. To test, let us comment out these lines, because this creates a new filter, this deletes an existing filter. We don't want to do that with our test email IDs. Ensure you don't comment this one out because we will be needing this. Let's go back to main.py, everything looking fine. Let's check our server. Our server is still up and running. In case it has stopped due to some error, just run it again using main.py. Let's check ngrok, and it is running also. It is running fine. You can ignore this 404 not found is for some favicon thing, doesn't matter. And let's come into Chrome. Let's see. Yeah, this URL will obviously work. It's working fine. Now we are into our bot. Let's send it a test email ID, test@test.com. Let's see. And there we have it. This email ID has been added to our filter. Supposing I am not sending it any email ID, I'm sending some random stuff. No new email subject. Perfect. I'm sending some this, and then I'm sending assassin@pop.com. Let's see. And yep, it has got this. Let's try multiple IDs at pop.eu and ubisoft.game.com and some text. Let's see, it should pick up the two email IDs and ignore the rest of the stuff, and it has done that. Now for the final step in our project, and that is to upload our code, everything from here, to an online service. So we will be using Python Anywhere, and let's see how to do that. Okay, next up, open up your Chrome and browse to pythonanywhere.com and create an account there. As you can see, I've already created my account, and once your account is created, come to the dashboard and click on bash, new console bash. So what we'll do is firstly we'll install a virtual environment and get all our library requirements installed, and then proceed further. So we'll do virtual env vn -- python is equal to python 3.7. Now the reason why I am installing Python 3.7 is because in my existing code, the existing code that I've written is based on Python 3.7. To verify which Python version you have installed, just go into your shipping span vn scripts folder. Now let's run the activate command. Now we're inside the virtual environment. Let's check the version pip-v, pip-v, that shows 3.7. So just ensure whichever Python version you have, install that one over here as well. Next up, we shall install pip install requests flask, and there's an extension that we'll need, flask SSLify, which is needed for Python anywhere. Oops, I made a mistake. I have to install everything inside the virtual environment. So what we'll do is firstly activate the virtual environment. Source venv bin activate. This is a Linux command. It differs from the Windows command. In Windows we run the activate.bat, but it's the same thing. Now you can see we have entered the virtual environment. Now we install pip install requests flask and the extension flask SSLify. Now let's let it install. Okay, so I've zoomed in a little bit so you can see the code pip install request flask SSLify -SSLify. Next up, we also have to install the Gmail API libraries. So let's do a new tab, Gmail API library, Gmail API. And we have this Gmail API Google libraries, guides. Let's go to Python. And you will remember we installed this earlier from here. So just copy this code. Let's go over here and paste it. Oh, I'm sorry. Paste it in here. Install it. Alright, so all the prerequisites have been installed. Let's go over to files. Now we shall upload all our py files. Okay, so now you can see over here that we are in the root, home and shipping spam folder. So let us create a new directory. Let's call it bot, new directory. And we will upload our files here. Let's go. Now we're in the shipping spam folder. And let us select email formatter. Oh yeah, we'll have to select one by one. Email formatter, that's uploaded. Main.py, that's uploaded. And shipping spam.py, I think that's it. Yeah, we shall also need credentials.json. Remember, this was created when Google authenticated our bot, not our bot, when our shipping spam program. And we also need the token.pickle, which contains the authentication data. So email format credentials, shipping spam did not get uploaded, shipping spam. Okay, we have everything here. Next step, we will go into the web tab, add a new web app. Next, select manual configuration. I will select 3.7 because that's what I have installed on my PC. Next, and I've written the code for 3.7. There might be some changes in 3.8, most probably not. Okay, now we are in the web tab, and let's scroll down and come to the source code. Now you have to change this to your web app source code. Now I remember it was root home shipping spam bot. This is where we uploaded all the documents, all the Python files. Working directory, let it be ship this one, root home shipping spam. Let this be. Python version 3.7 is fine. The path to our virtual environment is home shipping spam venv. Let me just zoom in a little bit. Okay, I hope you can see clearly. Home shipping spam venv. Now these log files, you can have a look at them when you run the code to debug or something, like the Python tracebacks. They come and get stored in this error log. Even this server log is pretty useful. So have a look at them in case there's any problem. Rest of the stuff looks okay. To see, like, if you are not sure what's the location, you can go into files, and you can see over here, this is root home shipping spam, and we have our bot folder here, and we have our vn folder here. Next up, we need to go into the bot folder and edit our main.py file a little bit, because we need to amend the SSLify portion. So let us import from flask underscore SSLify this time. Import SSLify, and let's come down to, after this app has been instantiated, we will instantiate an SSLify variable. We'll call this method on app. See, the SSL is capital, Fi is small, and we pass in this app. Now we need to save our code, and then let's get out, go into the web tab, come down over here and go into this Wsgi configuration file. We need to make a few changes there. Come down to the Flask section, uncomment this line. You can press Ctrl and / to uncomment. Also uncomment this portion, Ctrl / and uncomment this one, Ctrl /. This basically is adding the path to our Flask application to the system's path, like the default path, like system32 in the Windows. So home shipping spam, and it is bot. This is our path to the Flask application. If path is not in the system path, it will append this path to the system path. And our Flask application is in the main.py file. So we'll just write main import app. App is our Flask app inside the file. Now click on save. Let us go over to the web tab and reload our URL. This is our URL, shippingspam.python anywhere. There is a public facing URL. So you can see now our bot is working properly. The HTML portion is being displayed. Let us copy, okay, let it be for now. Now what we need to do is connect our Telegram bot to this URL instead of the ngrok URL we had earlier. So let's open a new tab and type in a delete webhook. Okay, now my bot's ID is in my clipboard, so I'll just paste it over here and I'll hit enter. Okay, now you can see webhook was deleted. I'll just show the code URL to you. If you're Telegram, remember to put bot before your key, then / delete webhook. So that's it. It is done. Now next step is to set the webhook. Set webhook $URL is equal to this new URL from Python anywhere. Ensure you put HTTPS over here. Let's go over here, let's paste this, and we have a successfully set webhook message. Let us close. Okay, let it be. Let us try Telegram. Now our bot should be working fine. Once again, let us ensure that while we are testing, we don't amend any filters. Let's go into bot. We don't mistakenly amend any filters. Let's go into shipping spam. I think we have already commented out. Yeah, so it's still commented out, no problem. Okay, so now let's test our bot if it is working fine. This is a test id.com, and we can see that we are not getting any response. Let us check the debug code. Let's go into web Let's go into error log and server log. Let's see. This is the error log. Error number 2, no such file entry credentials.json. Credentials.json. Okay, I think I know the problem. Let's go over to files. Let's go to our bot folder. We need to copy this. So actually let it be. Let's go back to the shipping spam folder. Remember, this is our working directory, root home shipping spam. Let's upload our token.pickle as well as credentials.json over here. Token.pickle is uploaded. Where is okay, Telegram? Sorry, I think I uploaded the wrong file. I need to upload credentials.json, not Telegram. Incoming tree. Let that be. I think that might be generated. Okay, credentials.json, token.pickle. Now again we go into web. We reload our application. Now hopefully it should work. Test email at id.com, and we have a reply from our bot. Okay, so it even added the earlier email ID and it has added this email ID. Now let's just go back to our we don't need this. Let's check this. There's a server log. Go to the end and you can see it is announced by loyalty to the emperor. Let me zoom in a bit. Announced my loyalty to the emperor. Like all this is fine. If this shows it's fine, let us check the this was the earlier error we found in the error log. Now let's see. Okay, working fine. There's some import error, but that's fine. It is not affecting our bot. We can close these. So anytime you need to check the error logs, you can come down here in the web section and you can click on this error log, server log, access log. I haven't really checked. Now let us see if our bot handles multiple email IDs. This is email2@blah.com and something@something.com, something.com. Okay, now you can see that I've opened up my Gmail account. Let us test our code. Firstly we'll have to uncomment the code that we commented out while we were testing. So let's go into bot. Let's go into shippingspam.py. Remember, this is for creating a new filter. This is for deleting an existing filter. Select control /. Okay, looking good. I'll delete this. We click on save, and we also need to click on reload over here. So it will reload our application, our Python or anywhere URL also it will reload. Let it reload. Okay, done. Now let's test this. My existing filters are only these two. So I have this email already in my inbox. You can see over here I have these two emails. So firstly I want to test whether the label gets applied correctly. So I'll do Control C and I'll give it to my bot. And let me take the next email ID. Control C, Control V, and I have removed the return keys. As you can see, I pressed backspace. Keep a space in between them. I think return key creates some problem. I haven't figured that out as yet. Now let us send this and see. Right now shipping spam has 3 emails. So these two should go in over here even though they are not in this filter. But once we add it, the 2 email IDs should come here, plus 2 emails should be visible here. Let's send it. Alright, these email IDs have been added to the filter. Let's check our inbox. These have disappeared and they have appeared here. And let's refresh our filters page. There we have it, our 2 new email IDs. Now let us send a new email from this guy. And let us first set up the filter. Alright, filter has been set up. Let us check over here. Actually, no need to check. We can just send the email now. Send message. Enter my email ID. This is test, and I will send the message. Now, it should appear directly over here. It has appeared. It hasn't come to our inbox, and it should also be in here, obviously. There we have it. So that's it for this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it. Many thanks to Red Eye Coder Club for his Telegram tutorial. My tutorial wouldn't have been possible without his excellent video. I will link to his video in the description below. Do have a look at his channel. He creates some great content. That's it. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.